Koeberg Alert Alliance says suspension of the power station's general manager shows Eskom cannot operate a nuclear plant, especially not one that's breaking. The suspension of the general manager was announced on Friday. The Alliance warns this decision will have ramifications. To discuss its position, I'm joined by the chairperson, Becker. Peter, very good evening to you. Tell us what your concerns are.
Well, we've been given very little information at the moment, Jane, and we have to speculate. But I think it's fair to say that if the manager had been competent, he wouldn't have been placed on suspension for performance reasons. So that means that we can say he was incompetent. And to think that the most dangerous power plant in Africa was being run by an incompetent plant manager is very worrying indeed.
Eskom is saying that this has no impact on the safety of the power plant. I mean, this is a man that, as you said, held an important job. With him removed, where does it leave Koeberg?
Yes, that's a good question. And there are a few factors that are particularly important at the moment. Firstly, we've got load shedding, and obviously there's a lot of pressure on plant managers to keep the plant running. And it's a big concern that if there's a conflict between keeping the plant safe and keeping it running, the message is clear to whoever takes the job next, is keep that plant running or face suspension. So that means that a conflict would be present when making a decision around safety issues at the plant.
And this also impacts on the skill shortage that we're seeing there.
Yes, so now we've got one man doing two jobs, and he used to be the chief nuclear officer of Eskom, but now he's also the plant manager. So he can't be giving 100% of his time to both jobs. So what is being neglected at this time? So it really, that statement from Eskom leads to a lot more questions than it answers.
I mean, it's concerning, isn't it, that we're looking to get more nuclear power and we can't even get what we have right?
Never mind new nuclear power, Eskom also wants to extend the lifetime of Koeberg by another 20 years. So the people who designed it intended it to run for 40 years, and that comes to an end in 2024. None of those people work for Koeberg anymore. They would have retired by now. So it is really taking a huge risk to take a plant like this and to say, let's extend it for another 20 years.
Do we really know what state it's in?
We don't. And recently we actually did a PIA application under the Promotion of Access to Information Act for a report into the containment buildings. Now, those are the concrete domes that surround the reactors and are meant to contain any leak of radioactivity if there is some kind of accident. And we found that that report told us that there was accelerated corrosion going on in the concrete. And in fact, they had blanked out half of the report. They had blacked it out, and they didn't want that to be released to the public. The parts that were present in the report said that one of the containment buildings had cracked, a 110-meter crack all the way around it. So we don't know what state it is in, but we do know that it's deteriorating more rapidly than designers thought it would.
And is it worth the risk, considering it only represents 3.6% of national generating capacity?
Yes, and that's really the crucial question. So often figures are thrown around. They say it produces 50% of the Western Cape power and so on. And you can always choose the statistic that suits your purpose. But in terms of nominal capacity, and that doesn't change, doesn't matter what's down, as you say, it's 3.6% of our electricity. And from our point of view, it's simply not worth the risk.
All right, Peter Becker, good to talk to you.